for this Monday, September the 5th, 2011. I'm your host, Greg DePalma, as we find out whether or not the New York Jets can take that next step and get to the Super Bowl. So, as always, welcoming in our host/analyst for the upcoming season, editor of Jets Confidential, Dan Leberfeld. Dan, thanks for coming on in here for another year.
It's always great to be with you, Pigskin, and I'm calling in from Florham Park, New Jersey right now.
All right. So, was there any recent news there? Any press conferences? Anything to enlighten us today?
Well, there was a press conference with Rex Ryan, and also there was an open locker room, and there was a half-hour practice for the media. John Connor didn't practice, but he still might play. And when you look at Mark Brunell, he had some kind of wrap on his calf, and I think he'll be available, but that's why Kevin O'Connell is here, because this is the kind of injury that he could go out in the pregame and start hobbling around, and they're concerned they don't have a backup. So with Brunell, he is getting better, but it's still a cause for concern.
There's no way Kevin O'Connell is any sort of a 2 or 3 week answer for this team if something happens to both Sanchez and Brunell, based on what we saw last year and the fact that he couldn't even make the Dolphin squad.
Well, I'll say this about Kevin O'Connell. He has bounced around a lot, but I don't think any of us can say what he would do if he had to play a couple regular season games. I think, with Miami, he just arrived pretty much at the beginning of camp, so he was thrown into it there. With the Jets, he never really got a legitimate chance to play a lot with the Jets. So he had a pretty high rating coming out of San Diego State. He's very fast. He's got a good arm. I'm not saying he's the answer, but I think it's kind of a gray area what he brings to the table, because none of us have seen enough. I think that perhaps he was picked over Kellen Clemens because of money.
And so far, again, it's only preseason. But so far, I'm just not seeing anything different out of Mark that I've seen in the years past. Could we just wash that up as preseason?
Well, no, because the same problems he was having in his first 2 years, obviously each year ended with a bang, when you look at going to the AFC Championship game. But some of the stuff that reared its ugly head throughout the regular season, the inaccuracy, the red zone, still an issue. Now, you could say, you know what, he had a bunch of new receivers thrown at him this summer, so maybe that was the reason why he was inconsistent when you look at Plexico. Not only did they add Plexico and Derek Mason, they both missed practice time because of injuries. And then you look at Jeremy Curley being thrown in also. So, in fairness to Sanchez, I think we do have to say, you know what, he had a lot of new players thrown at him this summer. So was it the chicken or the egg? Is he still inaccurate, or was it because he had new guys? The Jets should be able to run the football. Now the Jets do have a new right tackle in Wayne Hunter, and he didn't get a full summer to work with his partner in crime over there, Brandon Moore at right guard. Brandon Moore coming off the hip injury. So you have to wonder about this offensive line early in the year, because it's not the same group coming back with Damian Woody out. I know Hunter played a little last year, but as I said, Moore was out a lot this summer with the hip. Nick Mangold missed some time with a stinger in his neck. So you wonder about the Jets' O-line early in the year if they need some time to get the kinks out. Well, I think they like Maga a lot as a blitzer, and obviously Bart Scott does a lot of that as well. I mean, with all their linebackers, they're going to send them at different times, but the designated pass rusher, if you will, is Jamal Westerman.
Okay.
He's going to come in on third down. He's in great shape. I think he's really ready to contribute this year. I thought he got a raw deal last year. There was some politics going on with some players that they were playing in front of him who might not have been as good as he is. So now he gets a chance. He was banged up last year at a high ankle sprain. That didn't help either. So Jamal is ready to contribute. We'll see what he can do. Yeah, I think they're getting the Cowboys at a good time. The offensive line for the Cowboys, they should have 3 young starters on there. With the center Costa and the guard who they just picked up out of Wisconsin, Nagy, and the draft pick Smith, the tackle out of USC. Yep. So you would think that Rex Ryan, remember, this is the game. If you remember the Jets-Houston game that opened up the Rex tenure, you give a guy like Rex Ryan basically giving him 3 or 4 months to get this game plan together. So you give Rex Ryan that kind of time to prepare a defensive game plan, and you throw in the fact that they have 3 young guys starting on the offensive line for the first time, that should really favor the Jets defense.
All right, Dan. We'll talk next Monday, recap the Cowboy game, and then we'll take a look at the at Week 2 for the Jets.
All right, all the best, Pigskin.
Likewise. That's Dan Leberfeld, and he'll be with us every Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern on Jets Confidential Radio. By the way, if you want to subscribe to Jets Confidential, the toll-free number is 800-932-4557. 800-932-4557.